The Xenomorph and Ellen Ripley explained in under 5 minutes. Ready to go. The Xenomorph's power is called Hidden Pursuit, and it's oriented around speed and stealth. The main cooldown is called Runner Mode, and the Xenomorph automatically goes into it once it's not on cooldown. You go on all fours and get a much smaller tear radius and get access to the tail attack, which is a ranged attack similar to Nemesis's whip that can go over objects and injures 1 health state when you hit a survivor. 7 control stations automatically spawn on every map near gens, and the Xenomorph can go up to these control stations and enter them to go inside of the tunnels under the map. When inside the tunnels, the runner mode cooldown goes much faster, and the Xenomorph also walks much faster and is able to freely move around the tunnels and pop back up at another control station. And to help you navigate the tunnels, you can interact with the control station you want to go to, which will then mark a path to get to that control station. You can also see the footsteps of survivors if you're walking under them, and if you pop back up near survivors, killer instinct will be applied to them, and any turret nearby gets momentarily disabled. Survivors are also able to interact with the control stations to get the remote flame turrets, which once you place it down, if the Xenomorph goes within 10 meters of it, the flame turret will attack and stagger the Xenomorph and will disable the runner mode if the killer is in it. The flame turret gets disabled and the survivors can then repair it, and the killer can even destroy it completely by just M1ing it. I would put the Xenomorph's power in A tier. The fact that you have no cooldown to enter the control stations allows for really good map movement, and the tail attack when you're in runner mode is really strong and is a really easy ranged M1 that you can get the cooldown for really fast. Smaller tear radius in runner mode and the survivor tracking in the tunnels will also allow you to find survivors really easily and catch them by surprise. With rapid brutality, you don't gain bloodlust anymore, but in exchange, if you hit a survivor with a basic attack, you get a bonus 5% haste to your movement speed for 10 seconds at tier 3. This perk is best combo with Say the Best for Last, because if you have a bunch of stacks, you'll recover from the M1 cooldown way faster, which means you'll be able to close the distance with your extra haste that much faster. I would give this perk a rating of A tier. Having no bloodlust is a pretty big hit to killers who really rely on it, but if you're using it on killers that don't get bloodlust much, this will definitely save you a lot of time in chases. With Alien Instinct, when you hook a survivor, you see the aura of the furthest injured survivor for 5 seconds, and that survivor gets the Oblivious status effect for 20 seconds at tier 3. This perk is best combo with Lethal Pursuer, so you'll be able to see the injured survivor for 7 seconds and track them down that much easier. I would give this perk a rating of C tier. This perk simply wouldn't activate if you have no injured survivors, and it's also a completely inferior perk to BBQ, but it could get some good value if you're a killer that can injure a lot and travel to that survivor's aura really fast after a hook. With Ultimate Weapon, it activates for 30 seconds after you open a locker, and in that time span, if a survivor enters your tear radius, they scream and reveal their aura and also suffer from the blindness status effect for 30 seconds. This perk is best combo with Darkness Revealed, so that when you open a locker, both these perks activate and you'll see the aura of survivors around lockers and inside your tear radius. I would give this perk a rating of C tier. It's a pretty inferior perk to Darkness Revealed and isn't very good if you have a small tear radius, but if you have a big one, you'll get some pretty decent value out of it. Moving on to Ellen Ripley. With Chemical Trap, after you repair a generator for 50% progress, it activates and you're able to put a trap on a dropped pallet. It'll stay active for 120 seconds, and that pallet's aura is revealed to all survivors, and if the killer breaks the pallet, the trap explodes and it slows the killer by 50% for 4 seconds. This perk is best combo with Blast Mine, Wiretap, or Flashbang, because all these perks will activate once you complete 50% generator progress. I would give this perk a rating of C tier. Once the trap is applied, it's really obvious, so the killer can just avoid it by not kicking the pallet, but in a good loop, that unkicked pallet will buy you more time in the chase. With Light-Footed, whenever you're healthy, your running footsteps are completely silent, and it goes on cooldown for 20 seconds at tier 3 once you do a rush vault. This perk is best comboed with Lightweight, so that you're super stealthy when you're healthy because you make no noise when running and your scratch marks disappear a lot faster. I would give this perk a rating of B tier. You'll be able to travel the map a lot faster outside of chases without getting caught, and it can also sometimes confuse the killer in chase if they're only trying to listen for your footsteps. With Lucky Star, when you enter a locker, this perk activates for 10 seconds and you have no grunts of pain or pools of blood, and then once you exit the locker, another 10-second activates, which will let you see the aura of all the survivors and the gen closest to you, and this perk will go on a cooldown for 30 seconds at tier 3. This perk is best combo with Quick and Quiet, so you can fast fall into the locker silently and get as much use outside of the locker of the no pools of blood and grunts of pain. I would give this perk a rating of B tier. The stealth aspect of it isn't very good because the killer will still be able to see your pools of blood from when you enter the locker, but the best part of this perk is being able to see the aura of all of the survivors every 30 seconds basically, which could be pretty decent in solo queue.